me, just whatever side, I don't care. So,
You're gonna go to the wrist lock.
yeah, so you got it on?
Yes. Yeah, so here.
So basically I re-grab you.
He re-grabs.
And it's basically, I end up bringing you down into a similar move. I can't remember the exact counter. Let's work it out. I can work it out if you
I'll go. Just tell me what you want me to do, and I'll help.
So just top wrist lock. And I'm gonna have to
Tell me how you want me to move.
because I never do the top wrist
It
lock.
might be because you need me to move a certain way.
Yeah, because basically I want to switch the move. Hey Sam, do you remember the top wrist lock counter from here where I end up in the top wrist lock?
No. I know the way you're talking.
You know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to remember my hips.
I'm going to tell you the honest truth that I forgot and I barely ever pulled it off.
Yeah, it's like basically like I scooch out my hips.
Do you want me to fall or do you want me to
Yeah,
stay?
and you're gonna roll this
Oh,
way.
and you're gonna end up on top.
Something like that. I'm the toughest one. Anyway, I'll have to remember. If I remember it, I'll film it and I'll send it to you. It's a really slick thing, but so here's the bread and butter. Headlock, double wrist
Do you
lock.
end up in the basic same
Exact
position?
same position.
Well, yeah. I do this. Like for example,
One more, okay?
when somebody, I try as best I can even before you lock this. Like let's say you haven't locked it yet, and now you're about to go for it.
Yep.
I grab your wrist right away.
Right.
So now you have my wrist, I have yours. Now when I do this, I bring my hip.
That's it.
And now I hop.
That's it. There we go. There we go. So I agree with you. Top wrist lock shit for the most part. It's really a shitty move. It's not a high probability.
Now, you want me to show you something? So check this out.
Yeah.
So I have a way to finish it, which I feel is better than the way most people finish it. Yeah. So and then I'll show this, and everybody will go, "That's catch." Watch this. You're gonna like it. So this is what the reason why the American top wrist lock it fails most of the time. Obviously, we have the twisting like that. But let's say I get it traditional, like Jiu-jitsu usually gets it. Why? Because most of the time it's easier to do this. The guy straightens. You know, you're too strong, and you do that. So what I do is I don't hold you. I don't hold you here to fight you. When you straighten it, I go with you.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, do a straight arm lock?
Yes. And now this, if you try to move, feel like I'm not gonna hurt you. Try to get out.
Yeah.
Like try to move. See what I'm doing? It's very simple for me. You see how you scissor my head? Then you can see. You try to scissor my head.
I'm just going
And
for
then,
leverage. I
yeah,
got it.
you're gonna try to do something. I'm just gonna do that, and then I'm gonna go hard.
Right.
So I prefer that finish for the Americana. I get a lot of I've been around. I've been training a lot. So I get a lot
Actually,
of.
that's the counter that I was thinking of. That's the exact counter that I'm thinking of. So do it again just so I can remember.
Yeah.
Because
So
I think
all I
that's
do is I just follow because the guy's so strong. I can't hold you.
right.
You're not gonna allow me. So once you straighten, I just go with. And then my ribs crush your shoulder, or I sit and crush your body like a pin. And then now during this position, unless you can twist, if you can twist, then you're free. You're free. But if I can keep you from twisting, I'm golden.
So we do a similar thing. Stand up. So for wrestling, here and here, and I go short.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, and then I can set up.
Yes, you got your little fireman modified.
So, see that counter, the one that you did where you rolled over me when I had you, that's the one I was thinking of. Top wrist lock's not good. But this is like the stuff that I'm thinking. Lay down. So you see these guys doing this shit all the time, right? And they're trying to get the hands and stuff.
Right.
And the thing that I don't understand is we could just simply do
like
short
a
arm
short arm scissors.
you know?
Yeah.
So, this is what I'm talking about.
But there's more.
That's where I think that
If you can go down with them, it's fine.
it is very valuable
want to stay up
for
and
jiu-jitsu guys to study catch. Because I was never a genetic freak athlete. Like, you know, I know guys that are amazing athletes, like, you know, Brandon Williams, for example, very good friend of mine.
He's a friend of mine as well. We were on the same team together.
Oh, for grappling?
Yeah, he and I both were on the same U.S. team.
So he and I ran a gym together.
What's up, Brandon?
Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah.
incredible athletes. So I know these guys. I'm not one of those. I mean, I'm all busted up. I don't have the durability. But the only thing that kept me hanging with any of these guys or made me valuable was that same thing. I was the guy who always knew the strangle and the other guy didn't know. So, you know, if I happen to get into an armbar and the guy's stronger than me, I can't break his grip, I could just go into the short arm system, right? Or, for example, if we do a guillotine and I'm going to guillotine you, and you take me down, right? And I can't finish this. I learned this because I was wrestling John Wood. You know John Wood at was it Syndicate in Vegas? Anyway,
I'm not familiar.
So he's a hell of a good wrestler. He took me down, and I got him in a guillotine. I wish I would have known this. But instead of trying to finish the guillotine here, you go to the shoulder and you take like a Nelson. Right? And these are all catch wrestling things that you just have to, in the information age, you can be a lanky noodle like me and have a shot if you really dive deep into the material and know different tricks. So that, for me, as just a general grappler, that was the real appeal to me in catch wrestling.
Right.
Is nobody knew the moves.
Yeah.
Nobody knew the moves.
Yeah, and I totally get it. I guess I'm a pretty fortunate person. I was around at a time when we weren't locked in our four walls, and we were allowed, let's say, to learn. I was doing leg locks in the 90s. I was doing neck cranks in the 90s.
Dude, there was guys like Walt Bayless. I mean, guys back there doing this.
Walt Bayless tapes were how I started learning jiu-jitsu. Now, when I look back, I don't mean to talk crap on Walt Bayless, but he taught me a lot through his videotapes. Sure. But when I look back, I see those videotapes and I go, oh my gosh, I see the holes in the skill and the technique.
Because he was the only one doing it.
I couldn't see it back then because I didn't know what I was doing.
Right. But now that everybody's doing it, they're like, oh, we'll do it this way, do that. And everybody, I mean, this is the greatest thing about the information age.
Yeah.
So I see your point about today's
This
athletes.
is why let's keep making it better. You know?
Yeah, so here, to let you know what kind of, like, where I'm going with catch wrestling now.
You're there.
So it was a little disheartening, you know, I mean, Joe Bain, with Snake Pit USA, who's one of my guys, just a freaking monster, badass, but a nice guy, really good man. We put that together last year, and when, like, it lost money, dude. It just was a no-go. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Catch is very small.
You don't have enough of the population that do catch to show up to a catch tournament.
But so the thing
you
is,
have to attract how many grapplers?
How many jiu-jitsu players are there for every one Gordon Ryan?
Yeah, there's tons. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So as there's more people, let's say like a natural athlete, we're just making this up, appears 1 out of 100 people.
Right.
So if you have 10,000 people, you have 100 great athletes.
Right.
I don't have 10,000 catch wrestlers. I don't have 1,000 catch wrestlers.
Is this correct? Curran Jacobs, right? He's the man, right? So he's like the guy. Right
Well,
now.
yes
You
and
got
no.
Josh Burnett. Okay, Josh Burnett and Curran Jacobs. You got two. Let's call them both. They're great, right? They're both great.
Sure.
I've seen Curran Jacobs. Somebody mentioned to me. They go, "Hey, what do you think of Curran Jacobs?" I got that question once over the internet, right? And I said I had already actually watched 2 of his matches when I didn't know who he was, and so I'm watching it. I go, man, he's a really good wrestler. You know, I see him beating guys. Personally, I think it's because they know how to wrestle his opponents, but they don't know that much about submission.
Yeah.
I still think he's really good.
Yeah,
I think he's really good.
Listen, I've had Curran and
I just don't think he can beat Gordon Ryan or
No,
those
there's no
guys.
way. There's no
But
way.
I do think he's really good.
There's no way. I mean, if it was a bet, I would just put the house
Yeah.
on Gordon Ryan. I just would.
But
Look, I like Curran as an athlete.
Yeah.
You know, I think the guy's had some challenges in his life, and he's a little, you know, black and white and kind of. He's very passionate, so if somebody tells him one thing, he won't fact check it. He'll just go 100%. And like he had 4 years where he basically harassed Josh Barnett on bad information, and now they're friends. Okay, which is cool.
Yeah.
And
They're
this
both
is
good. They're both
and
great.
this is the thing that I really liked about the World Championships last year. I'm a fan of Curran as an athlete, right? He's been very difficult for me to work with, and a few other people that I know. He's just hard to work with on a professional level, but he's a great athlete, okay? And there's no, I mean, what he did that night was an incredible feat. You can never take that away from him. He's an incredible athlete.
He's amazing.
The challenges with Curran is that, we tried to book him against other people, and he was like, no, Gordon Ryan only. And I'm like, dude, I don't got Gordon Ryan money, dude. I only had 100 people coming to the gate.
That's tough.
I can't afford that. So I got him Star-Lord, who was like the Gordon Ryan I could afford, a leg locker who's, competitive.
They competed? What happened?
Well, I tried to make it happen. Curran wouldn't do it. And that kind of...
Because he wants the name. He wants
fame. Curran, I think
I get it. Yeah.
He's an actor and all. He really wants to be famous, and that's a lot of wrestlers. He goes, and that's what they want to do.
Does he? He doesn't
I
weigh
have
as
no
much.
idea. I don't think he does.
He shouldn't be attacking that. He should attack someone more like. How much does he weigh? 175, 180?
I think he got up to. I can't
just
remember, but
judging
I think he
off
got
a
up to
video.
200 pounds for
okay.
I think.
Okay.
But that also,
he's
I'd have
probably
to
like a 185 or
naturally, he's like 185. I guess.
Yeah. He should go after like somebody like, in the jiu-jitsu world around that way.
Well, here's what happens. So we run that tournament. We run that tournament, right? And what I liked about it, and what needs to happen in catch, is we need to have more tournaments. I was the only guy running tournaments. I started it in 2007. Nobody was doing it. I started it. I did it for 12 years as open tournaments. Still never got it more than 50 people. But at least it gave people an opportunity to test it and get in the lab and evolve the sport, right? So we ended up getting this show put together because Josh got involved because of the beef between him and Curran for so long.
That makes people show up.
Josh got injured.
Even though you said only 100?
And so...
But that makes people show up, though.
Well, we ended up getting a lot of press. Right?
Yeah,
we got a lot of press, and I was trying to parlay that. But I don't have a sheik. I don't have a Fertitta. I don't have any backing, dude. I'm like bootstrapping this shit, and I've got 3 kids and a wife. I mean, I don't have extra money,
Yeah.
So anyway, we were about to get the next one, and I booked Curran with Star-Lord, and he said, "No, I'm not doing this." And I'm like,
I don't even know Star-Lord. I guess I'm just not.
He's bigger out in the East Coast.
I'm just out of the mix.
He's if you look him up out on the East Coast, now he's managing people. He hurt his back pretty bad. But anyway, so I tried to make that match. Curran balks at it. I guess you're supposed to have a match against another guy in England named Ian Jones. He doesn't do that one. Then Curran decides to start his own promotion, which he calls King of Kings, like a toy derivative of mine. Uses a rule set that's almost the same as mine.
Because yours is called King of Catch?
King of Catch. And then he books a fight with Star-Lord. The same match I was trying to make, but when he fiddle-faddled, I just didn't have the money or capital, and it folded my whole organization. Because I thought we could maybe take that momentum and make this other show, and it just died. And so the strategy that I'm doing now, because I learned some hard lessons on the business side of things. One, you got to work with people that are professional when you don't have money. I just don't have money to throw away, and so all that stuff. He's a young man and he's got his own agenda and stuff.
That's
so
okay.
that's fine. I don't hold that against him. But what we've been trying to do instead is piggyback on other promotions. And interestingly enough, what we're really trying to do is actually get on pro wrestling cards. We're trying to have shoot matches, legit competition on pro wrestling cards. Because the Nagas, the Grapplers Quest, they've already got the Fight to Wins, they've already got their own thing going. They don't want to try the EVI, they don't want to try these other rule sets. And so I'm just trying to do what I can. So if there's a sheik or somebody out there with money that wants to invest in catch wrestler,
someone with some money that loves catch wrestling.
I've been looking for 20 years. I haven't found a sheik yet.
I keep going around and around in my head because, again, like, I think, well, one, you're up against the marketing of jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu's not smart. They're Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? And you're like Shasta Cola.
I'm not even Shasta.
You're not even Shasta.
I'm like the home brew.
Yeah. So but it's hard to beat them when they're out there, recruiting everybody.
Fertitta money is.
Remember, here's what you'd like. You'd love to get every wrestler that gets done with high school and college wrestling to jump on board with catch wrestling. That's what you'd like, right?
I think it would be a very easy transition instead of them unlearning wrestling and learning jiu-jitsu.
Right. I get that. But this is your strategy.
My strategy.
Your strategy, you need to do that. But right now, jiu-jitsu does that. Jiu-jitsu gets that market, one, because it's just the word that's in everybody's brain. When they watch the UFC, every single fighter in the UFC, even though, now when it's jiu-jitsu versus wrestling, wrestling says, we have all the champions. That's what they always say. But the jiu-jitsu's reply, which I agree with both, is, guess what? You don't have one wrestler in MMA that doesn't train in jiu-jitsu that's a champion. Other than maybe there's a guy out there that can argue. Yes. So the marketing of jiu-jitsu is just it's gonna get everybody.
But see, this goes to that weird like lineage or style versus style.
Right.
Like to me, I've gotten to a point where catch wrestling is just a set of rules.
I was coming to that.
And anything that works in that is catch wrestling.
But I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that. So here's what I mean. The moment that a wrestler gets out of college or high school, he goes into his local jiu-jitsu school.
Yeah.
He gets a blue belt in 6 months.
Yeah.
He's going to tournaments, jiu-jitsu tournaments.
Which is easy because like tournament season for him is every weekend.
Right.
I go in high school and junior high and shit. Yeah.
And now he's doing really well. He's getting his submission game up.
Yeah.
5 years later, this wrestler that flies the flag of jiu-jitsu is basically not completely. He's kind of like a catch wrestler.
Yes.
Because he's like a guy like me.
Yes.
He has the wrestling skills. He's not going to be thrown off by, like jiu-jitsu guys will get thrown off by catch guys. They won't understand.
No. That's what Sakuraba did.
Yes.
That's all Sakuraba did.
Sakuraba versus the Gracies, they don't know wrestling enough to deal with Sakuraba.
Right.
But Sakuraba.
It's unorthodox.
Right. But Sakuraba versus a jiu-jitsu guy who is also a wrestler.
It's tough, yeah.
And then all of a sudden now Sakuraba's going, I need a better submission game.
Now you're looking at Carlos Newton.
Yes.
Sakuraba. It's a tight game.
And now, but I need he needs a better submission game.
Yeah.
You know, he's good. Don't get me wrong. Sakuraba's a hero of mine.
So it's interesting.
Like he also was an earlier generation. So I can't fault him for that. He's retired. For his day, he's the man.
Yeah, that was my day. It was like, he blew my mind. Right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing that I think that's interesting, is that, and again, these are just my own opinions. Everybody can think what they want to think, but I mean, I've done a lot of work and I've been doing it. I've been around the guys that have been around, and I look at catch as a very open system.
Okay.
So, like jiu-jitsu is very hierarchical.
Right.
White belts, can't learn leg locks, and catch is just like, whatever, I don't care which belt is, get on the mat, right? And that's how wrestling is.
Yeah, I love that.
You were mentioning guys earlier, like the old guys, like Fury and Cicchini.
Yeah.
Back then, they were so like, you can't call yourself a catch wrestler. I think everybody should just call themselves a goddamn catch wrestler.
And again, I had the Matt Fury tapes.
Yeah.
Matt Fury was a good wrestler.
Listen,
he wasn't an amazing wrestler. He was a good wrestler.
But he was a good wrestler.
He was a great, I'll even say he's a great wrestler.
He's a good wrestler, yeah.
He's a good wrestler.
Yeah.
But I still have memories of the tapes. He didn't know submissions.
No, he didn't. So here's
he might have been claiming catch, but he didn't know submission.
No. So here's the whole story on that, as I know it. And
this is a problem for catch.
Well, that's part of the problem that I tried to solve. Is it just was such a cheesy.
I know that most of that you can't even find nowadays.
No.
So it doesn't. I guess it doesn't hurt catch at all.
Back in grappling magazine days.
But here's how it hurt catch. It hurt catch because I was watching.
Yeah.
And I have a brain.
You got the videos,
brain.
And you paid $700 for these VHS videos, and they're him in his freaking front lawn in his living room, and then the submissions are not that good.
And he was showing shit that I knew right away. I was already training, so I already knew that's BS. That's BS. You've got a great 2-on-1, so I'm watching the stuff that's good. Great talk about breaking wrist ties, going to 2-on-1s by Matt Fury, but then all of a sudden he's doing some funky, stupid stuff that doesn't. It's wonky. It's
so
not even happening.
Here's the thing. I was pretty good friends with Carl Gotch. I lucked out. I mean,
I wish I could add your experiences.
it was really, really like, in terms of catch wrestling, I won the lottery. I mean, I did a lot of work and stuff.
These guys were the legit dudes.
Yes. So what happened was, you know, Fury had connected with Gotch because they lived in Tampa together.
He must have only spent a little bit of time.
And that Cicchini guy hooked up with Thez, but again, very little time. And then
I could tell.
when Jiu-Jitsu was coming up, you know, Thez was very much smart about money. He made more money in pro wrestling than like 99%, except for these new crop like Rock and shit.
Yeah.
But, like before the WWE, he was rich.
But he still previously did it.
And so he saw all the UFC stuff. And he's like, well, let's start marketing catch to these
Right.
UFC guys, and that's where he kind of got behind Cicchini and stuff. I've talked to Mark Fleming, who's actually Lou's real protege and ran Lou's gym, and Mark didn't even know who Cicchini was or anything. So, you know, and Mark was wrestling with Lou 5 days a week in Virginia. Mark really knew what's up. Mark Fleming, he's a great guy, a good friend of mine. But they had both kind of glommed onto these guys, right? And I got to know Carl, and I asked him about Matt Fury, and he was just pissed off.
He wasn't.
Carl had a really bad temper. It was like, yeah, he's good for turning a meal into shit, and all, like, rough.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, wow, really? Well, because Carl was old, he wasn't on the internet, especially back then, you know. So I printed him out, Fury's website, sent it to him. And Carl wrote me this big letter and said, post this on the internet. And, you know, basically set the record straight that he never really did anything, and then he didn't like him. He said, you know, he's like an old school guy. He's like, he's so low he could wear a top hat under a snake. You know, walking under a snake. You know, like old school insults. You know what I mean? But catch is a weird thing, dude.
I get it.
It's punk rock.
I know it is. But here, I never finished what I was saying.
Oh, sorry.
I was talking about right now the wrestlers come out of high school, college, they go to jiu-jitsu typically. Now some of them want to go to catch because I will say this, to a wrestler, catch is a more appealing name because of the word wrestling. That right off the bat gets them more excited.
The first freestyle in the Olympics was called amateur catch.
Right. Telling them, right. When I first started wrestling, I looked up wrestling in the dictionary and it said, go see catch as catch can.
Yeah.
That's when I was in the like 1992.
Yeah.
So, but I also had a 1950s dictionary at home. So that's what it said. And I'll never forget that it said go see catch as catch can. And I read it and I go, actually what I'm doing is called catch as catch can.
Yeah, the old term.
And that's what it said in the 1950s. Anyway.
You're right. The setups and entries for submissions in catch are very good for folk style.
Okay, so I get sidetracked all the time.
That's all right, me too.
So they now do jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
They fly that flag of jiu-jitsu instead of catch wrestling.
So you can feel
what happens. I'm telling you what happens because I walked the path.
Yeah, you see.
But I also walked the path. Remember, when I first started, I was not a jiu-jitsu guy. I was considered a submission wrestler.
Yeah, you and I started at the same time. I've seen a lot of it, but a different perspective.
Yeah, right. It's just a different, right? We didn't call ourselves jiu-jitsu. We called ourselves submission wrestling.
Yeah.
And little by little, I ended up moving and I got kind of accepted under the banner of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Right? Jiu-jitsu is more prevalent. I meet jiu-jitsu people. I train with jiu-jitsu. I have jiu-jitsu friends.
Yeah, it's convenient.
I was a head referee. I was a head referee for the biggest tournaments out here on the West Coast. People started knowing of me as a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
And I will admit, the majority of my grappling skill, this is difficult for me to say, in a submission-minded sense, is definitely jiu-jitsu. There is a large portion that is folk style wrestling, freestyle wrestling, Greco-Roman. I've done all three styles and competed in all of them. I've learned from sambo videotapes, catch wrestling videotapes, judo.
Yeah.
I have judo friends. I've never competed in judo, but I have a decent judo influence. I would not consider myself a judo guy, but I have a judo influence.
Yeah.
I have a catch wrestling influence without a doubt.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, so here's what I'm saying is, to get to the point, once a wrestler has done jiu-jitsu for 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, they're like me, they no longer see a need for the pin.
Sure.
The pin, they already have it. They know how to control somebody.
Yeah.
Even in jiu-jitsu, we have pinning. We pass the guard, we have
Why
to...
is that? That's because the
Because
sports
it's important.
because the sports, the competition's don't have
You
pins.
worst them down.
Well,
So there's no use for it.
No,
To
they
them.
are.
Right, but
grappling-
it may not end. Yeah, but it may not end the match. But it's important in the sport for points. In order to pass the guard, you have to immobilize your opponent for 3
Cradles are
seconds.
great. Cradles are great for passing the guard.
Right, but the point is, you have to mobilize for 3 seconds in order to get the guard pass. So pinning is still important. It just doesn't end the fight.
Yeah, right.
Which I think every general person agrees with, because when they watch fights,
Kneel in the head.
a guy could be in side control for 5 minutes. It doesn't mean he's losing the fight. I mean, he's losing, but it doesn't mean he's lost. He can still recover the guard.
See, it's
he can
because-
still slide out and get back on his feet.
See, it's weird. We're so in the weeds, we can't see the forest, right? The reason why pinning is not really that important in grappling is because there's no, except for these little pro-dunk catch tournaments that happen every once in a while, there's no way to win in a submission game with pin. Judo's not really, nobody's really trying to hold a 10
Okay,
second.
but let's nail it down now.
But wait,
If we have-
let me say this.
Go ahead.
Let me say this.
Lock here, and I want you to turn.
Eddie Bravo's entire empire, remember, he's a very smart man. Okay, he's very, I mean, flat earth stuff, all that aside.
Yeah,
I'm
then
saying,
let's-
like, on the business side of things and building an empire and
Yeah.
building a brand.
Incredible.
And having badass
Right.
rash guards.
Yeah.
10th planet everywhere. He's done fantastic, right? Genius. That was built off of a pin. That was built off of a twister. The
Yeah,
twister
but-
is a pin.
It's a pin,
also
but
submission.
yeah, but it's also
That he learned
submission.
from wrestling.
Right, true. No, I don't doubt that. And earlier you talked about the guillotine changing off to underhooking the arm.
Yeah, for the
and
Nelson.
pulling that.
Yeah.
Again, that is what he calls 100%. He calls that 100%. So he has his own name for it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Learned it in wrestling, I guarantee you.
Oh, everything is,
Right.
he rebrands
Right.
everything too, which is very
Right,
smart.
right. But that's beside the point. The point is, once we do have the pins in jiu-jitsu, we just don't call it the finality of the match. Just because the rule set says a pin ends the match, why is that a good thing? To end the match after a pin.
It's an arbitrary thing. It's
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think it
why
comes
do you
from
need
this.
it?
Well, I think it comes from this. I think that the pin historically. So if you look at the history of grappling, especially in the West, in the last 500 years, there was always stand-up wrestling, right? It was always collar and elbow, which is like Washington, Lincoln, those guys doing that shit. And it was for the throw, like an Ippon Senagi,
Right.
And Ippon.
I'll make the same argument for judo too. Why does the fight end? Because
With
of
an
one.
ippon, right.
On the street, on concrete, of course.
Okay, but can I tell you something? On the street, on concrete, the guard doesn't really work that well either.
Right.
Or there's no points.
Right, but the point-
there's no points in a
but
street
this
fight,
is-
and yet you're telling me that you got to hold it for 3 seconds.
Right,
and
but what I'm
say,
saying
like,
is, judo's argument is a decent argument. On the concrete, a throw could end the fight, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't end the fight, you have to keep fighting.
Yes.
So that's why judo kind of their system becomes weaker.
So here's
by
my
their
thought.
sport
Here's my
calling
thought.
the end
So-
of the fight after the ippon, after the throw.
So this is where I'm saying I think we're too much in the weeds, right? Because what your ultimate application where you're going to is like self-defense, like a fight.
No, here's what I'm saying.
So there's no-
I think we
but I
can
think
make catch better by taking out the pin.
Everybody tells me that. It's not catch without the pin, it's just grabbing.
I agree with you, but why not evolve? Because I think it's better.
Because
It'll make everything
because-
better.
here's why.
We
Here's
can still
why.
have the takedowns. We can still have the neck cranks. We can still have the leg locks.
Here's why.
We can still have the
Here's
strangles.
why. Okay, look, I don't have a Sheik and I don't have Fertitta money, okay?
Got it.
UFC was sold for what, $4 billion?
4.5, I think. But yeah, 4.
Okay, WWE and its exhibition is fake, right? I get it.
Yeah.
Pin and submit rules, okay? But it's been going back. That's been going on for like hundreds of years.
I get it.
$8 billion. $8 billion. Why is it $8 billion? Why is it $8 billion?
Why?
Because it's simple for the audience to watch and spend money. How many people go to Abu Dhabi?
Good.
Not a lot.
Will it ever make as much money as the Super Bowl?
No.
WrestleMania and UFC do because they're simple. UFC is knockout and submission. Pro wrestling is pin and submission.
But I would have
It's simple for the audience,
Right.
but it keeps the action going. Because I will say this, I'm all for grappling. That's how I came up. I came up before. I didn't give a shit about pinning. Pinning is new for me, other than my wrestling stuff. Like, but I really consider myself like as a pee-wee and elementary school wrestler. Yeah, sure. But I don't even count that. That's like taekwondo when you're a little kid.
Yeah.
When I came into it, it was all about grappling because I was in Denver when UFC 1 and 2 happened. Blew my mind. That little skinny voice who was like me was beating up this god like Ken Shamrock. Like, oh, this is amazing. And I'm all about grappling. But the fact is this. It is the most boring ass shit to go to a judo tournament and be in the stands. It's fun when your buddy is doing it or you're like doing it, but it is the worst and you're never going to make money with it at that level.
But we can say that about wrestling. We can say it about jiu-jitsu. We can say it about all of it.
I'm just telling you, the reason for the pin is two things. Here, and I'll make it quick. One, it's easy for an audience to understand, just like a knockout in boxing. It's fucking easy. But
is
two,
easy?
I think there's.
Well, why isn't the sport of amateur wrestling?
But I think like when
It has pins.
whenever you have an animal that's submissive, it lays down at belly up.
There you go, good.
I look at the pin, and they used to a lot. So Frank Gotch a lot of times was feared for his toe hold, right? But his toe hold wasn't the finisher. He would break their ankle unless they rolled to their back. So the way that they used to tap was to go to their back.
That's an interesting thing.
So I think there are, and that's just the short way.
I get it, but here, look, take MMA and take pro wrestling. I was a pro wrestling guy when I was a kid, man. I'm a little bit younger than you, but I was all over Hulk Hogan, man. WrestleMania 1, 2, 3. That was basically right when I started. Was WrestleMania 1.
It's expected.
So, but here's the thing about pro wrestling. It has the word wrestling in it, but it's not just the wrestling. It's the stuff that's illegal, like striking. It's the punches,
bad guy stuff, yeah.
And the drop kicks, and the jumping off the top rope, the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Spectacular, yeah.
It's the flying forearm of what was it? Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. But so when I ran that experiment last year with the World Championships, right? The one, the current one, and man, I am telling you, like, you know, the thing that I liked about it too is that, you know, the catch wrestling community, I think this happens a lot in a lot of combat sports because people just want to fight.
Yeah.
So everybody on the forums all bitching and all this stupid infighting, and it's like I don't even tune into it anymore. But the great thing is that once there was actually a match, it was settled. There was like nothing else to be said. It was great. It was actually a time of peace.
Yeah.
You know, it was really nice. So, you know, I will say this, even though we only got 100 people because I didn't have the money to promote it.
It's still great.
Those matches on YouTube, and I will tell you in the room, it was the most exciting, entertaining thing. It was like when I first saw MMA back in the day. It was so exciting.
Yeah.
I don't like MMA anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to be real. I don't even watch it. I love it. It drives my business. Everybody's interested in this because of UFC. But I very seldom, unless I know the guy or I'm a fan of the guy, and I'm not. Now that I'm old, I don't know these guys that much anymore.
Yeah.
I don't watch it. It's pretty boring. Everybody looks the same.
Right.
You know, that MMA has become its own style because of the rules, and it's had enough time to evolve. Those catch wrestling matches that we did, even though it was rinky-dink, small, it was amazing to watch. It was amazing to watch, and I think there's a formula there that is timeless. I don't think it's about harkening back. I think it's like gravity. It just don't go away. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry to go on, but I hear this all the time. I would do catch, but you got to take out the pin, and I'm like,
here's my argument. Okay, I figured out the argument. I know you've already heard it, probably.
Let's go over
This is the perfect argument. Don't call it jiu-jitsu.
And what I need to do is flip my hip out.
One guy takes catch wrestling and teaches catch wrestling, like with the pins, and create. You can have 100 schools all training guys in catch wrestling with pins, and then give the other guy 100 schools catch wrestling without pins. Have those students fight 5 years later, and the ones without pins are going to destroy the ones with pins. Because those grapplers are not going to be worried about the pin, which is going to make them better at submissions. And in a real fight, the only way the pinning group is going to win is if you have rules that say pinning wins. But why is that? That's just, you just made up a rule. What I'm saying is, let's make it better for fighting, or for, whether it be self-defense, sport fight. Why have a rule that pinning ends it? If pinning's great, but let's finish them. What's great about catch is the neck cranks, the leg locks, the chokes, the arm locks, all the details.
Well, that's what's driven our business. What's driven that's what interesting catch.
Right. If people want to know how to pin, listen. If people want to know how to pin, do amateur wrestling.
Yeah.
Do folk style, because now it's all about the pin.
Well, and so, yeah, okay, so there's a couple things here.
Take that.
So okay, I might differ a little bit with your 5-year experiment with the 100 schools one way and 100 schools the other way. And the only reason I'll say
one
that,
school, it doesn't matter.
The only reason I'll say that is I got thousands of schools pumping out folk style wrestlers, and they're kicking everybody's ass once they learn what the other guy's doing.
Right.
So pinning to me,
but what I'm saying is we can still have wrestling.
I know, but
you don't have to have the pins.
Here's the thing: the pin does a couple things. One, it drives the action for the audience, but I've already covered that. And money is important for anything to be sustainable. But forget about that. I do think militarily there's this idea of the strategic high. And I think, typically speaking, the top dominant guy is going to win.
We teach
not
the
always.
Pin. No. We teach the pin.
Okay.
We just don't call it the end of the fight. Sure. That's what I'm saying. We still have it. We just don't call it the end of the fight. Because when you call it the end of the fight, you're negating everything that I got to do from the bottom, which is a lot. There's still things. And call it 2 catch wrestlers. Has a catch wrestler and a catch wrestler.
Okay, so here's something great from the bottom. Here's something great. So we're holding every year. So I mentioned earlier Joe Bailey. I helped him put on that World Championships last year.
Hey guys, try it out. Let's go.
So we also do an open tournament, right? So I've kind of sunsetted King of Catch Wrestling. What I'm really trying to do is make the King of Catch Wrestling its own belt. They can travel to different promotions.
That'd be cool.
Do you understand? Because it's not big enough to have its own show. We had 100 people. That's not sustainable. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm now working with Joel to do an amateur tournament. We call it the Billy Robinson Classic.
Yeah,
but for example, the reffing, if the guy underneath is active or being offensive, even though both shoulders are down, you're not going to get counted a pin.
As long as you're active.
So it's
you have to
none
be
of
like immobilized.
You basically have to be like stuck in a cradle.
Really stuck.
You're in a cradle. I mean, have you ever had somebody cradle you and you're just like, I could sit here for a half hour or you know,
no, I know what you mean.
TV's going to go to commercial.
Yeah.
You can't.
But then you're going to have rare pins. It'll get to a point, which is okay. That's you're moving towards my direction.
So pinning will become less prevalent in that way because it's not one of those where like I'm doing a triangle and I'm on my shoulders and I get counted out. That's
currently right now, you can get a pin any which way. It's not like judo, or is it? Where you can pass guard, you have to pass guard. You can still be. You can have a Turk and pin. Is that correct?
Well, so under these rules, if the person is being offensive, right, or the pin has to be a complete control.
So can you pin inside the guard?
Yeah, if the guy's not doing anything, if he doesn't have anything, doesn't have a guillotine or anything in, or any kind of hold.
But if he's got a triangle, he's not going to get pinned.
No, but if he's actively moving and he just happens to be on his shoulders, but he's really fighting, and that's going to be the ref's discretion too. Right? So
that's a really important. I like this right now. Like you just because I don't know this answer. You know this. What are the rules on pins? I don't even know. I know it's 3 seconds. No. Well, I know pinning really well.
No. But like the history of it's weird. Yeah. Back there used to be 5-point pins in American wrestling. Okay. There used to be 5 count pins. I'm sorry. But then there was 3-point pins where it had to be both shoulders and a hip.
Okay.
You couldn't have the guy.
You couldn't have the guy up.
Those are both shoulders. So now most people understand.
That's silly because that's like the most dominating thing is to wrap your legs around your head.
But because all these different guys would have these different rules, and some would have strangles, and some wouldn't have strangles. Some would bind full Nelson.
So currently under your rule set, what is a pin? It's a 3 count. It's 1, 2, 3. You're immobilized for that one. It's not a fast count. It's not pro wrestling. Does the referee count like this, or does he count in his head?
No, he counts so the guys know to move.
Oh, so they know. Okay.
I mean, really, the whole point of the pin, honestly, in my opinion, from a business perspective,
keeps it active.
Is to keep the motion moving. Keep the movement. Because it's so fucking boring for the lay and pray shit.
Right.
I'm just being real. This is why EBI, all these other things. I love these guys.
Yeah.
One of my
combat jiu-jitsu's tomorrow night. You going?
Yes. No. But like one of my
I can
buddies.
get you tickets.
Yeah, well, maybe I will then. Maybe I will. One of my
gonna be
buddies.
fun.
Okay, maybe one of my buddies runs Subversive too, right? And like, I support these guys with my whole heart. But I feel the same way. I'm like, dude, without the pin, nobody's gonna watch because there's only so many people who practice and know the nerdy little details of what's happening and give a shit.
Okay, I hear you. It's not going to become the UFC level. It's not going to become pro wrestling. None of these sports are going to become that. Wrestling, jiu-jitsu.
Listen, here's my strategy.
wrestling.
I'm gonna leak it out.
They're not gonna.
And what's gonna happen is everybody rips me off as they always do. Just give me some credit. You can send cash too, but just give me some credit. I want to create a shoot belt for pro wrestling to where they have an exhibition track on their shows, and they also have a shoot track.
What do you mean by shoot?
So competitive wrestling. I want pro wrestling to integrate competitive wrestling again.
But with shoot, is it grappling only? Do they have what are the rules of shoot?
Catch wrestling rules.
Okay.
Pin or submit.
Right.
Real professional competitive wrestling.
Right.
But put it on pro wrestling
What is
shows.
illegal? What is illegal?
And that could be, well, it depends on the rule set, right? So then there's
All submissions other than like small joint.
Did you like pancrase?
I fought before pancrase.
But like the Japanese pancrase, not the local promotions and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Like the Minoru Suzuki, the Frank Shamrock.
Yes, yeah, I used to fight under those rules. Open
Okay,
hand,
yes.
head, close fist to the body,
Yes.
no gloves. Yes,
You put in a pin. That's the pro wrestling you see on TV. That's not acted out.
right. Yeah,
Same
yeah.
shit.
But
That's called-
they do the illegal.
That's called all in. Yeah, but they also use trash cans and shit too. So
Yeah.
and ladders. So that's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is like
Open hand though.
what they used to call that all in.
Oh, they would call it, and it was open hand?
All in is catch wrestling with some bitch,
Yeah.
some Stockton slaps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's love.
That's pretty cool.
And that's what to me
Well, right now we have combat jiu-jitsu tomorrow night. Little slap jiu-jitsu.
very much, and that's what I love.
But they
Pancrase to me was
they
the
don't
ideal.
allow the strikes when you're standing.
And I like that.
And I like it. I think it's a good intermediate because, to be honest, a lot of you grapplers and wrestlers out there, you're kind of chicken to do MMA, just be honest.
Oh, it's a great way to break
And
in.
you'd rather break in by slapping.
Yeah.
I think it's a good way to
Well,
start.
I'll tell you something. So I went to the first Team Quest camp back like in 2003 or whatever. I had gotten out of pro wrestling because I was sick of pro wrestling, and I had some modest success, but I decided that was not what I wanted to fucking
Yeah.
do. So then I was still young enough. I was like 31 or 32. It was like 2001 or 2 or something, 2003. And I went to that Team Quest camp, and I was like, I'm gonna do MMA. I'm gonna try this. And I was so game. I loved the grappling. I loved all that kind of stuff. But I remember Ryan Schultz. I don't know if you remember him. He was an IFL middleweight champ, real stud,
Yeah.
right? He lives in Colorado now too.
He beat the hell out of Bordeski.
Oh, dude, he's just a stud, dude. I really have a lot of respect
Pull
for
the
him.
pull the wrist around his back.
And then just drop it.
Dude, Ryan Schultz is a real stud. Anyway, he's a middleweight, and I'm like a weight class above him, and we're having to spar, and he hit me so fucking hard. And like, I was
Yeah.
outstanding.
Yeah.
You know, I was like out. And I made a decision because I was hit back
Yeah.
then even, I was hit to a CTE problem.
Yeah.
And I was also, I have my master's in math, so I was doing like
Sag your weight down.
a lot of computer shit, and my hands hurt from the punching.
Now roll them up on the
So
carpet.
the open hand,
I like
to me,
use-
is a
I used to
way
use the
more
S
superior
grip, but it
thing.
all depends on, like,
Right?
I always hear Boss Room talk about that.
I think it's superior.
I knocked a guy out in 7 seconds with an open palm.
open palm, you don't ever bust a hand that way.
Yeah, it felt sweet.
Okay, guys.
So if we're talking about self-defense applications, I think that is the way to go. you know?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
same position, overhook, underhook.
Okay, so a couple things here that we do that's a little different. Sometimes you'll have guys that like grab their shorts, or
Yeah.
you have problems there. Let's say that you're going for this. He doesn't grab the shorts yet, but he's straightening. He's being tough.
Yeah.
Straighten the arm. Don't let me bend this.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to go for the double wrist lock. Simply go in the knee, in the shoulder here. All right. So now once I have this, if he grabs his shorts. Now,
the best shorts, but-
and I can't get the double wrist lock. Or he's just super strong and I've got skinny arms and I can't get it. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn this out that way. I'm gonna keep this short. My thumb's now gonna come off. I'm gonna replace it what we call the grandma. You know how grandma holds her grocery bags in the elbow? So I'm gonna go thumb, this comes off. I put his wrist in grandma. I now shift over, grab his delt, and grab mine. Okay? But this isn't anything yet. This isn't even the submission. This is just uncomfortable.
This is very uncomfortable.
So now I pike my ass up and I come to the other side. Okay? So that's just a short arm scissor. You all right?
Yeah, no.
So just real quick and I won't crank it.
My laugh is me feeling pain.
So remember, like if this guy's being hard, like your arm is straight, what I will do is I'll put my palm, so normally we'll grab at the lever here because I want to lever the whole arm. Well, now I want to crunch it. So I'm going to put my hand here, and then I'm just going to crunch it down and get in. Okay, once I have it secure, I take my thumb away from me. This pops up and I grab it with my elbow. Now I don't grab here, I go under here. And I'm using the cutting bone. This is annoying, and you'll get some new guys to tap, but a tough guy won't tap. So then you gotta pike up and come around to the other side.
Yeah.
You okay?
No, I'm doing great.
Short arm scissor.
Yeah. No, that's a cool technique. Guys, check out those details, and then let me know how it works for you. Comment down below, and hope you enjoyed. Catch Wrestling right here.
Thanks, Reggie.
Yeah.